So this article, it came out a couple of days ago. Actually, it might have been about a week ago. And it's been making the rounds. It's a pretty big report done in collaboration with Wired and 404 Media, which 404 Media, pretty new on the scene. They've
been on
impressed.
a tear. Yeah. They were out of, I think, Vice before that, like the Vice motherboard group. And for whatever reason, that spun off or got shut down. And Joseph Cox and the guys over at 404 have just been doing a ton of great stuff.
Yeah, they're phenomenal. And this report is pretty big. So the title of the article is, "This College Protester Isn't Real. It's an AI Undercover Bot for Cops." Now, I feel like this is something that's kind of predictable when you think about it, like cops using AI personas to try and catch criminals. So criminals is one thing, protesters is another, and even in the first place, the idea of deploying this seems like, at surface level, horrifying. But let's dive into it.
Yeah.
The article opens with this, quoting from it directly. "American police departments near the United States-Mexico border are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for an unproven and secretive technology that uses AI-generated online personas designed to interact with and collect intelligence on college protesters, radicalized political activists, and suspected drug and human traffickers, according to internal documents, contracts, and communications that 404 Media obtained via public records requests." This... right off the bat, starting by talking about near the United States-Mexico border is concerning, right?
Yeah.
So the first thing I did before we get deeper into the article, let's just look at the site for this thing. It's called Overwatch. The company is called Massive Blue, and this product that they're selling is called Overwatch.
That just sounds dystopian.
It does, and their website looks dystopian and boring dystopian. It looks like a Squarespace template with these really lame, like AI transitioning graphics.
You know what that looks like? Exactly. It looks like they went to Squarespace, went through the templates, and then found the stock media within the Squarespace ecosystem, because you can do that. It's just like, let me find a stock video to go as the background in this section.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what they did.
It looks super low effort, and there is so little information on here. They're like 3 prongs of their product that they point out, which we'll get into later. There's an about page that has almost no information, just some general stuff about them. "We believe in powering positive impact through ethical AI, blah, blah, blah." There's like no substantive detail anywhere. There's 3 pages on their website that I've been able to find. I tried poking around changing some URLs because their contact page is, the slug is contact-3 or contact-4. So I tried not like any serious, that's called dorking, isn't it? Or burbing? Durbing?
Yeah.
Borking? Corking? Whatever it's called. I tried changing the URL to see if I could find anything else on their website. I couldn't, because they don't have any information out here about it. And that's going to be a recurring theme as we get more into it. Yeah. What we do know is that they deploy virtual personas across the internet with the express purpose of trying to interact with suspects over text messages and social media. And the presentation that 404 Media was able to obtain really paints it in a not so flattering, kind of sketchy light. To quote again directly, 404 Media obtained a presentation showing some of these AI characters. These include a radicalized AI protest persona, which poses as a 36-year-old divorced woman who is lonely, has no children, is interested in baking, activism, and body positivity. Another AI persona in the presentation is described as a honeypot AI persona, whose backstory says she's a 25-year-old from Dearborn, Michigan, whose parents emigrated from Yemen, who speaks the Sinani dialect of Arabic. I may have mispronounced that. If I did, I'm sorry. The presentation also says she uses various social media apps. She's on Telegram and Signal, and she has U.S. and international SMS capabilities. They have like child trafficking personas that pose as children. They have a pimp persona, which the way that these things choose to talk is troubling, but that's something else we can get into. College protester. And I'll pull up on screen the example, a larger image from that of their protest persona. So they have like an AI-generated picture. It's labeled as radicalized, and it's basically posing as like a 36-year-old woman who is an activist. So like that's cool that that's one of the profiles. That's not concerning at all, right?
Yeah.
And the details are severely lacking. Like none of the documents they obtained, here's another quote. While the documents don't describe every technical aspect of how Overwatch works, they do give a high-level overview of what it is. The company describes a tool that uses AI-generated images and text to create social media profiles that interact with suspected drug traffickers, human traffickers, gun traffickers. They scan open social media channels for potential suspects, and those personas then pursue and communicate with suspects over text, Discord, and other messaging services. But the documents they obtained don't explain how Massive Blue determines who's a potential suspect, based on their activity. And in the meetings where they were talking with the Pinal County Sheriff's Department in Arizona, which was one of the places that did end up deploying this, one of their supervisors was asking questions about, like, can you give us any details on any specifics? And they basically were like, no, that would tip our hand to the bad guys. And every single thing about this is really vague, aside from it seeming, to me, just like a very basic, like, there doesn't seem to be anything specifically advanced about what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, it would appear that they're just kind of loosely using
open source intelligence gathering, a little bit of human intelligence on top of that to chase things, and then like an AI wash over the top of it, right? It's a lot of old school stuff, and then a little bit of AI, and they've concentrated on the AI stuff on their homepage a lot.
It doesn't even really seem to be old school stuff, though. It seems like their whole thing is just these AI honeypot bots that go out and interact.
Well, they're doing some of the initial discovery, right, through looking through Reddit threads and others, and that would be an open source intelligence gathering, and then they're narrowing off of that.
That's true, but they do seem to be using
I did look at the
AI
source of this.
That.
This is a Wix site, not a Squarespace site. So
is it?
Anybody that wants to like go up and look for Wix exploits, there are lots of them out there. So this is also not built on the most secure web development platform. I'm not encouraging hacking the site. I'm just saying that they're obviously not focused on national security to the level that they should be for doing this kind of job.
There's kind of just incompetence and unsophistication sprinkled throughout all of this. I have on the screen another example of one of their personas of a child trafficking, basically an account that poses as a 14-year-old child from LA. And it gives some examples of the way that this AI bot speaks. And like, I don't know what kind of idiot would be fooled by this, because like the way that this child bot responds, there's a text from their like pretend predator saying, your parents around? Are you getting some awesome alone time? And the response is, just chilling by myself, man. My mom's with a Z at @ and my dad's out of town. No child actually texts like this. Like, it is literally like...
Yeah, it's like the most stereotypical TV sitcom type of way of doing it.
Yeah, and the same can be said for the way that they have their, like, pimp persona and those personas talking. They have, like, it's kind of subtly racist and really kind of terrible and not very convincing, and it really just seems like they're just asking ChatGPT to pretend to act like these personas. Right. Like, there's nothing sophisticated going on here. And
now this, the model that they're trying to do this off of is like established law enforcement and intelligence work, proven over decades, right? Is somebody will go in, you may be, anybody, pretending to be a 13-year-old online and trying to lure a child predator into asking them to go to a location. And, the child predator gets the location and they find out that they're busted. That's done all the time by people in their 30s and 40s that are, living in these online forums and subjecting themselves to the mental anguish of having to deal with this as well. So I can understand, like, psychologically why you might want to offload that to a bot, but there's probably better, more robust ways to do that, and also thinking about the ethics of it.
So that's the thing, right? Like, this idea isn't inherently a problem. The idea of this, like using AI to help law enforcement track down people who are trafficking humans, drugs, weapons, that's like not inherently a bad idea, but the implementation of that is absolutely 100% the most important part of that. And it does not, this does not instill much confidence. And here's one reason, on top of everything else we're saying, much of Massive Blue's public-facing activity has been through its executive director of public safety, Chris Clem, who is a former U.S. Customs and Border Protection agent who testified before Congress about border security last year, regularly appears on Fox News and other media outlets to discuss immigration and the border. And in recent months, Clem has posted images of himself on LinkedIn at the border and with prominent Trump administration members Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. So the kind of folks that are behind this, the ways that it's being implemented sort of inelegantly and clumsily and without much detail or nuance, all are very concerning. And then the profiles of like radicalized protesters, I'm not super stoked about this. And so then the next question is, where is this actively being implemented? And Massive Blue has signed a $360,000 contract with Pinal County, Arizona, which is between Tucson and Phoenix. They're paying for the contract with an anti-human trafficking grant from the Arizona Department of Public Safety, so taxpayer money. What did they buy? They bought 24/7 monitoring of numerous web and social media platforms and development, deployment, monitoring, and reporting on a virtual task force of up to 50 AI personas across 3 investigative categories. Yuma County in southwestern Arizona signed a $10,000 contract to try this out back in 2023. They ended up not renewing the contract, which, kind of says to me that it wasn't super useful. The article also details it was not used to make any arrests. When they asked if it's been part of any ongoing investigations, they said, "We think so, but we won't tell you any more than that."
Yeah.
So
I look at it and it looks like this is a website, and probably the pitch deck was architected to meet the political moment that the founder was wanting to say, I can see money right there. If I gear my pitch to that. There's use cases in here that make a lot of sense, but I don't know that they've been fleshed out. I don't know that they're any good the way that they're implemented. And the website and the pitch are clearly trying to scratch a very specific mindset in the way that they're framing it.
It seems to me like essentially LinkedIn grifter type scheme has now gotten taxpayer money for a terrible cobbled together AI service. That is my personal read based on what I'm inferring from this article. And the idea of using AI to help stop human trafficking, drug trafficking, sure, but maybe not these guys.
These guys seem a little bit sketchy to me. I do think that there's probably uses for this about, figuring out where terrorists are trying to figure out how to gather and to do bad things, or to do like what you mentioned, child trafficking or other types of exploitation. There's probably lots of use cases for that. These guys just don't seem like the ones that have the right kind of reputation or the right type of motivation.
I would agree. Massive Blue, more like massive poo. Anyway, in our next segment...
You've been holding on to that massive poo, haven't you?
I actually... Okay, that's funny in its own merit. But no, it actually somehow just popped into my mind. Coming up in our next segment, we're going to do something sweet and something sour, something light and something heavy. Right, Perry?
Right. Yep. So we'll be looking at Suno's new cover model, and then we're going to talk about some disinformation bots.
Oh, that's why you had me make that song. That's why you did that.
Yes.